One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
On this vote, the yeas are 215, the nays are 214, with one answering present. The bill is passed.
President Trump's big, beautiful bill has landed in the Senate. Republicans are eyeing to get it to the president's desk, but some are balking over ballooning debt.
The Congressional Budget Office projects this bill would create more debt, add to the national debt, about $3 trillion.
This bill, in its current form, would add a whopping $3.8 trillion.
And you can see that instead of even dropping for a couple of years, it doesn't drop at all, and it just goes up further and further.
Naysayers want you to believe that President Trump's big, beautiful bill will blow a hole in the national debt. But here's what they're missing, and what the latest numbers now confirm. When the bill was first introduced, the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, estimated it would increase the deficit by $3.8 trillion over the next decade. Predictably, the fake news jumped all over that number. But that projection was based on a static model, one that assumes the economy doesn't react to incentives. No boost in investment, no jump in productivity, no behavioral change at all. In other words, pure fiction. We've seen this movie before. In 2017, when President Trump passed major tax cuts, the CBO underestimated business investment, missed the productivity surge, and ignored the trillions of dollars repatriated from overseas. Fast forward to today, and the one big, beautiful bill is built on the same principles, but it is assisted by two pivotal things: real growth and tariffs. In this case, if the economy grows a percentage point faster than the CBO projects, a reasonable assumption based on historical fact, that $3.8 trillion shortfall drops to $1.3 trillion. But now comes the kicker. In its updated forecast, and for the first time, The CBO has even begun to account for Trump's tariffs, including the 10% global baseline tariff, a cornerstone of President Donald John Trump's fair trade agenda. Their estimate? Tariff revenues could reduce deficits by as much as $2.5 trillion over the next decade. So, instead of driving us further into debt, President Trump's big, beautiful bill will actually reduce our national debt by trillions of dollars. Let that sink in. Instead of taxing American workers and small businesses, we're finally shifting the burden to foreign producers who profit unfairly from access to our markets. So this isn't just a tax cut, it's a structural reset. Lower income taxes, strategic tariffs that reward domestic production, and pro-growth policy that pays for itself over time. So, well, if fake news tries to scare us, the reality is this. We're moving away from the old borrow and spend model of the DC swamp and towards a new equation. Growth plus tariffs equals fiscal strength. That's not just good policy. That's the real, big, beautiful story. I'm Peter Navarro from the White House.
So, I wonder how many of you really paid attention to that. How many of you are going to have to rewind and watch that again? It's worth watching 2 or 3 times. It's worth cutting and letting your friends see it. It's worth cutting and letting family members and co-workers see it. Because they're getting misinformation and they're completely missing it. Completely. What he just said explained everything that's going on. And the reason why people can't understand it, because it hasn't happened. Our entire economic system has been designed to keep you where you are. Paying other countries instead of paying America. And so if you dial that back and understand that just by moving a point or two in growth, hopefully just moving a point or two of growth, which isn't that much to do, you save a ton. And then if you use tariffs against countries that want this country's consumers, you make a buttload more. All of a sudden, you're sitting on a ton of money. But they don't tell you that. They just keep saying, what's the word they keep saying? You heard it probably 7 times in that 4-minute piece. You kept hearing debt, debt, debt. They're protecting the debt. And earlier I told you, just watch. Something is about to break. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm watching these people the same way you are, mill about, and they look like ants. They look like ants running around doing busy work, but not getting anything done. And we watched it for hours, and the late start tonight is because supposedly we're going to see if they get this thing passed or not. But nonetheless, they're hanging out. They don't seem at all anxious. They don't seem to even care. They come in and out according to what time they got to vote. They don't sit there and roll up their sleeves and say, let's get something done. Hey, the American people need this. No. And then this happened.
Okay. What do we got? On this vote, the yeas are 56, the nays are 44. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to.
That motion was to take newcomers, I gotta watch my wording, off of Medicaid, and it was defeated. It was Marsha Blackburns' bill to take, or amendment rather, to take newcomers off of Medicaid. 1.5 million so far newcomers want to take them off of Medicaid, and it failed because the Senate parliamentarian said, nope, well, you can't do this with 51. You have to do it with 60, dooming it to failure. And then once that failed, I sat back and I watched person after person post. A unelected staffer just blocked the Senate from cutting Medicaid for criminal newcomers. Elizabeth McDonough is overruling 53 senators and 77 million voters. This is a direct betrayal. Fire her, override her, change the rules, get it done. That was from Benny. Nick Sorter said the Senate parliamentarian has literally zero authority, and the Senate GOP just let her force us to give free health care to 1.6 million newcomers. You don't even have to fire her. John Thune could literally just ignore her. What the F are we doing? And on, and on, and on. All over X, people are screaming that this got voted down, and now all of a sudden we're going to have to let newcomers stay on Medicaid. So many people were complaining. And I noticed, as I sat back and watched all the stuff happening, like I noticed one man, he didn't complain. One man didn't seem to say anything. You know who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That one man would be Donald Trump. And as we're looking here, as of just now, I'm going to show you, this is the main feed on his Truth Social. And we all know he ain't asleep. We know President Trump, unlike Joe Biden, is most assuredly awake, monitoring everything. And here an hour ago, he's talking about selling Trump perfume. Post before that, U.S. tariff revenue, 2 hours ago. Post before that, one big beautiful bill from the Washington Examiner, 3 hours ago. 3 hours also ago, 8 ways the House Republican tax bill helps small businesses. 3 hours ago, it's time to pass it. 3 hours ago, he talks about Kelly Loeffler. 3 hours ago, top national firefighters rave about Trump's big, beautiful bill. Then earlier, 6 hours ago, he talked about that conference call we talked about earlier. Not a word. Not a single word, even of concern, by President Trump. They make you sit back and wonder, like, what? Wait a second. Why is everybody freaking out, but that one man is not freaking out? Interesting. Then I decided what I wanted to do was look up, I won't call him that other man, but we can call him that other man. That other man being J.D. Vance. And you look at his profile. And he reposted something from June 28th. And then the last thing he's posted was June 27th. Today, in case you don't know, is June 30th. So why is it that the two top people in our government, the vice president and the president, while everybody else thinks Rome is burning, seem to not feel the same way? Seemingly. What could it possibly be? So, as I told you, and I want to show you this too, because I believe this is important. This was President Trump, and I said this at the end of the last show. And this is President Trump's schedule. I want you guys to see it. Let me go ahead and make this bigger. Okay. This is President Trump's schedule, and this is kind of important. All right. President Trump today, Tom Homan briefs reporters at the Sticks. That's over where they hang out. 9 o'clock was pool time. 10:40. Kevin Hassett is over there. 11:03, he had lunch lid until 12. 1 o'clock, press briefing, which we saw with Caroline Leavitt. 2:30, President signs executive orders. 2:30. It is now 8:45. Why haven't those executive orders, whatever they are, why haven't they been made public if they were signed? Has anybody thought what might be happening? Well, I'm going to give you, as I gave a lot of people at the end of last show, my prediction. My prediction is President Trump's not worried about the parliamentarian doing what she did because he has no intention of giving those benefits to newcomers. I would almost bet that sometime tomorrow, if not late tonight, probably coinciding with this bill, you are going to see, and he's probably waiting, like we are all waiting, to see if this thing passes. This thing passes tonight. I wouldn't doubt that within an hour of this thing passing, the stuff that didn't get voted in, he's going to write it in. By executive order of the President of the United States, I hereby say, these people who ain't supposed to be here ain't getting crap. Sue me. Go ahead and skedaddle to the district court judge, tell your story to the judge, tell your story walking. I don't care. Sue me. And I'll see you in 2 or 3 years. Because you're not going to get a national injunction. So if you're President Trump, why worry? Why worry at all that this thing didn't get done right now? Because what you've seen at this point is a whole bunch of people who have raised their heads, the Murkowskis, what's her name, Susan Collins, John Thune perhaps, this parliamentarian, all of these people have raised their heads and shown us you might not be good for me right now. And so I just noticed there wasn't a lot of screaming, even on television. A lot of the people that you normally would think would be screaming about it not getting passed, they were quiet too. You guys know I use movies a lot in referencing. There's a part in The Godfather when Marlon Brando's character got old and was getting ready to retire, and Michael was passed the torch to be the new Godfather, the new Don. And I was going to show it, but then YouTube would have probably dinged me. But in that scene where some of the other capos are screaming, some of the other senators are screaming, hey, you can't let them do this. They're taking over our territory. Oh my God, Godfather, you can't let this happen. And the Godfather goes, you trust me? And of course, Godfather, I have your loyalty. Of course, Godfather. Then listen to him. Listen to him. He's going to take care of things. And they were like, you got to be kidding. If you believe in it, he's the guy. If you believe in this MAGA movement, Trump is the guy. Listen to him. Watch him. Listen to what Pete Navarro just said. Understand where things may be going here. There may be, in the next couple of days, a grand theoretical whacking of many people. There may be all kinds of Connie's wedding scenes coming up very, very soon. Because I can't possibly think that President Trump campaigned on all of this and he's going to let some little woman in an office somewhere in a corner of the Capitol who calls herself the Senate parliamentarian destroy all this. Can't possibly be happening. You don't think President Trump said, just pump the brakes, let's see what happens? Because the other thing would be to say he didn't understand, he's got the wrong people around him, these people set him up, and on and on and on. And every single one of those words is just doubt. It's just doubting him. Now, he doesn't walk on water. His name's not Jesus. But I think he's had 4 years to plan this. And he had 4 years to look at every scenario on the board. Every single one. What would happen here? And to doubt him at this point is to say he didn't know there was some Senate parliamentarian. And even though they've been talking about it for like 4 or 5 days, and when it popped up, you don't think he knew that? See, SV texted me before the show, and he said something to me that was very interesting. And I'm gonna read to you what he texted me. He said he was talking about there's some video going around about how Jill may have used the auto pen. And he's like, I'm still waiting on Big Tish, Letitia James, perp walk. Will any of these demo rats ever get arrested? Will vigilantes start doing the dirty work? And I said, patience. One word comment to him. And he says, I have patience, but I've been seeing a lot of people who watch our videos grumbling. They want blood. And then I had just a quick response to him. And that response to him was, you're not going to get it. Yet. And I know that's freaking a lot of people out. What do you mean we're not going to see people walking out in handcuffs now? No. Not yet. And we don't know when. This is much, much bigger. And if you remove yourself and go back and watch that piece with Peter Navarro right there, pretty much that tells you the story. That's what you need to be paying attention to. Because if we don't get the economy in place the correct way, if we don't do something about this debt, then everything else really doesn't matter. We can spend our time and our capital chasing down people and arresting them. They'll be there. They may be getting arrested, or working on investigations right now. You saw the 350 people they arrested for the Medicare fraud. We got people doing that. I need this done. I need this done right here. And then I'll take care of all the other stuff. Now, I told you about debt earlier. And there's a lot of people out there. I don't know if they heard what I said or if people are now starting to dig. Because this happened as well this afternoon. More evidence of Trump using the Supreme Court to clean up and fix the judicial branch. The Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit has overturned a lower court ruling that had prevented the Trump administration from restructuring the leadership at the Institute of Peace. USIP was set up by Congress as an independent nonprofit corporation, received federal and private funding, and was tasked with promoting peace via diplomacy and education. USIP's board of directors is made up of 15 members, 3 of whom are ex officio. They hold their seats due to their positions in federal government. The remaining 12, yada, yada, yada. And he's so right. Did you catch the contradiction? The USIP is supposed to be an independent nonprofit corporation, then why does it depend on federal funding at all? And why are all 3 of their board of directors working for the federal government and the rest of them appointed by the president? Trump is getting rid of this money laundering operation, and the appeals court just gave him the green light to do so. He's winning in the court system once it gets out of the hands of the district judges. He now knows that. His attorneys now know that. His attorneys now know that certain things that are happening can't happen based upon executive privilege. So do you think that this little woman in a corner office somewhere who decided you got to have 60 votes, do you think that she's going to be able to withstand what's coming? I'm not going to say guarantee. I would almost just tell you this thing is bye-bye. In terms of if they think they're going to be giving federal money to newcomers. It ain't happening. And he knows it. I'm not going to even bog myself down with the crap here. It's not worth it, is what he's saying. And I think what you have to realize at this point is everything that you're seeing. If President Trump is the man I think he is, and who I've been following. Remember, I said I lived in Connecticut. I've known about Trump way, 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 way back. I knew about Trump all the way back to the skating rink and all the things he did in New York City. And this man is a plotting, strategic, no memory loss person. You might beat him, and then he's going to come back and stomp you. I had posted something earlier where, let me see if I can find this, because I know a lot of people, what the hell is Barry talking about here? You know, I know a lot of people think I'm weird, and they start looking and go, oh, you may not be that weird. I posted this. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. And perhaps you guys should go look at it as well, because it's pretty interesting when you go look up war. And hold on, let me show this to you. And let me find it. Hold on, where is it? I'm coming. Coming. Hold on, one pic of the alligator. Right here. I've been saying this, and some don't want to even do any research on their own. But what if President Trump intentionally wants to increase the debt? What could be the end game? And if you know, you know. And I put von Clausewitz. How many of you guys know what von Clausewitz said? And let me just go ahead and give you the Reader's Digest conversion information. Von Clausewitz basically said, if you're going to conduct war, make it the final war. Make it the war to end all other wars. Don't give your opponent any opportunity to rebuild, regroup, to do anything. When you wage this war, it is meant to be the final war. And if you understand von Clausewitz and what he was saying to people is, you don't want to give any standing 8 counts. You don't want a TKO. You want a knockout. And he went even further in terms of what he wanted to do to his opponents. Go look it up. Go look up von Clausewitz. There it is right there. Von Clausewitz, and I believe the book and strategy he wrote was called About War. Let me see if I can find it for you real quick here. What's the book? Here's something you might want to take a look at. And this is an AI version of saying what exactly was his policy. Karl Philipp Gottlieb von Clausewitz was a Prussian general and military theorist who, I guess you guys can't see it all the way in here, who stressed the moral and political aspects of waging war. His most notable work, Von Krieg, though unfinished at his death, is considered a seminal treatise on military strategy and science. And he preached and he wrote about total. In fact, you remember the movie Law-Abiding Citizen, when the guy who would break out of prison and go whack the judges and whack all these kind of people, and it was just taking them down, blowing up cars, doing everything. He was raging total war. And then when Jamie Foxx came and got him, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm just getting started. I'm going full von Clausewitz. Total effing hell. I'm going to burn the entire temple down here." And I think what you're about to see, and you can go back to the campaign. Let me tie this in. What am I going to say when I tie in the campaign here to von Clausewitz? I'm looking in here. If you remember what he was saying during the campaign, there was a song that Christopher would come out and sing, and it was an opera song. And that song was Nessen Dorma. I get chills now just thinking of what President Trump was doing. I mean, literally, I'm getting chills on my arm. And you should be getting chills up your arm right now, because you should be mentally going, oh, Nessen Dorma. I believe we are about to get to the point in this movie where it all gets revealed. I think we're on the precipice of that right now. I think we're on the precipice of a von Clausewitz moment and a Nessen Dorma moment. This isn't about winning a bill. This is about destroying the Democrats and destroying our enemies and destroying the enemy within who's been holding debt over our heads. I believe, my crazy ass maybe, is that this guy has plotted and plotted and plotted and strategized, and how can I destroy these people? I don't want to win. It's winning. Yeah, winning. Okay, winning. How do I destroy them? Put it all together. Once you start putting it all together, light bulbs should start be going off in your head and go, wait a second. Wait a minute. Is this guy really trying to intensify the debt so that he can blow it up with the people who supposedly hold the debt and actually use that as a way to just completely destroy them? And now that he's got the judges like this, how are they going to stop him? I just gave you a clue into the inner workings of my mind, and some of you guys are like, this dude crazy as a loon. Or is he? Or is he? Because I'm looking at him, he doesn't look concerned. And so for everything you've had to see today, as you're watching certain amendments get voted out, in order for you to be upset, you have to assume he didn't plan on it. You have to believe in your heart, if this is happening and oh my God, look what these people are doing, then you're saying he wasn't prepared. He didn't know what was going to happen. Really? Have you not learned anything? I am going to obliterate the deep state. What word has he been using about Iran and was adamant about using that word? Go ahead. I'll wait. Still waiting. Oh, that's right. It was obliterate. The comms this guy is sending makes my skin tingle. And I'm like, is nobody else seeing this? And I realized today there were some people who were seeing it. People like Michael Flynn and people like, it's all lining up. We obliterated Iran. We obliterated them. And people are like, well, they might still be able to get their centrifuges and everything else. How do you know that's what Trump was talking about? People are like, oh, what else was in that mountain? Oh, I'm going to obliterate the deep state. Nessen Dorma. And you can just go on and like, well, Barry, if I'm wrong, tell me what is right. Because the answer to that question, if I'm wrong, is that you think Trump screwed up. That Trump didn't know this woman was in the Capitol. That Trump didn't know that Ron Paul and Massey, and he didn't know. He completely messed up. Because that's your only alternative. Your only alternative is to go ahead and tell this to everybody. Oh my God, an unelected staffer did all this stuff. So you're telling me your president, who you voted for, who took a shot in the head, didn't realize that there was this little person who was an unelected staffer was going to blow up his entire plans. Damn. Okay? That's all I could say is like, oh my God. He would have to be he would have to be an idiot, and you guys all wasted your vote. There is no MAGA. You've been following the wrong person. And that's my opening. So I'm sorry. People are like, okay. I know you got two choices right now. Barry's a blithering idiot. Barry's telling us some stuff we should go and research, because everything I just said, there is a foundation for it. Every single thing. And now it's up to you what you do with that information. It's not me, it's you. And I'm going to go not to a commercial. Well, it's going to be sort of a commercial, because now that I've said all that, what I want is for you guys to just watch this one more time, and then we'll move on.
On this vote, the yeas are 215, the nays are 214, with one answering present. The bill is passed.
President Trump's big, beautiful bill has landed in the Senate. Republicans are eyeing to get it to the president's desk, but some are balking over ballooning debt.
The Congressional Budget Office projects this bill would create more debt.
Twice. This is a White House production. Twice. That's so far. Two times the word debt.
To the national debt, about
three times.
$3 trillion.
This bill in its current form would add a whopping $3.8 trillion.
And you can see that instead of even dropping for a couple of years, it doesn't drop at all, and it just goes up further and further.
Naysayers want you to believe that President Trump's big, beautiful bill will blow a hole in the national debt.
4 times.
But here's what they're missing, and what the latest numbers now confirm. When the bill...
Okay, listen to this part right now. It's about 3 minutes. Take notes if you have to. Nobody else is going to tell you this stuff. Oh, it's a cute video they put out. No, this is more than a cute video. This is the recipe. What Peter Navarro is going to outline here is specifically what the Democrats are terrified of.
The bill was first introduced. The Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, estimated it would increase the deficit by $3.8 trillion over the next decade. Predictably, the fake news jumped all over that number. But that projection was based on a static model, one that assumes the economy...
You hear the word he just used? Predictably, the fake news jumped all over it. What do you mean? You guys knew this was going to happen. That's what he just told you. Predictably. We knew they were going to do this. I don't know. Maybe I'm a student of words. We knew it. It was predictable.
He doesn't react to incentives. No boost in investment. No jump in productivity. No behavioral change at all. In other words, pure fiction. We've seen this movie before. In 2017, when President Trump passed major tax cuts, the CBO underestimated business investment, missed the productivity surge, and ignored the trillions of dollars repatriated from overseas. Fast forward to today, and the one big, beautiful bill is built on the same principles, but it is assisted by 2 pivotal things: real growth and tariffs. In this case, if the economy grows a percentage point faster than the CBO projects, a reasonable assumption based on historical fact, that $3.8 trillion shortfall drops to $1.3 trillion. But now comes the kicker. In its updated forecast, and for the first time, the CBO has even begun to account for Trump's tariffs, including the 10% global baseline tariff, a cornerstone of President Donald John Trump's fair trade agenda. Their estimate? Tariff revenues could reduce deficits by as much as $2.5 trillion over the next decade. So, instead of driving us further into debt, President Trump's big, beautiful bill will actually reduce our national debt by trillions of dollars. Let that sink in. Instead of taxing American workers and small businesses, we're finally shifting the burden to foreign producers who profit unfairly from access to our...
Instead of taxing workers and small business. Didn't say in addition to. He said instead of. Meaning there's a plan afoot so that workers and businesses won't need to be taxed as much, if at all. Did you hear that? Instead of, this is what we're going to do. Again, and somebody asked, let me just answer this real quick. This says, where is this clip from? Well, at the end, you're going to see where it came from. See, that's if you had seen it at the beginning of the show, you would have seen what the stamp is and the name as to where this actual video came from.
Markets. So this isn't just a tax cut, it's a structural reset. Lower income taxes, strategic tariffs that reward domestic production, and pro-growth policy that pays for itself over time. So, well, if fake news tries to scare us, the reality is this. We're moving away from the old borrow and spend model of the DC swamp and towards a new equation. Growth plus tariffs equals fiscal strength. That's not just good policy. That's the real, big, beautiful story. I'm Peter Navarro from the White House.
You asked who put that out. You just saw at the end. The White House with Donald Trump's name. And there was something other that he said there that you need to pay attention, because they can't pay attention. He's like, we're moving away from their model of tax and spend. So it's hard for them to envision it, and people like Rand Paul and other people, because all they've lived on their entire political career is tax and spend. I want to do this, I need to go tax you. Instead of saying, I want to go do this, and how can I raise the money without taxing people? Oh, there's a concept. There's an actual concept that these people don't even think about. I may be crazy, but I'm telling you, I've been researching and looking, and I'm like, this guy doesn't seem worried at all. And I keep looking over here to see where we are, and they're waiting on more votes. And here's something, SV just sent this to me. Literally this came out at 8:59, 10 minutes ago. So the White House posted this, knowing full well things are in flux tonight, and that President Trump very well could have egg on his face come tomorrow, right? Okay. Then tell me why 10 minutes ago they posted this on the White House feed. The golden age of American greatness begins now. President Trump kicks off America 250 on July 3rd at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. Be there as we launch the next 250 years of freedom, strength, and MAGA pride. The new era of American greatness, July 3rd kickoff celebration, and most importantly, you can see the time right there that they posted this. Interesting. Wow, that's some cockiness. You're gonna go. You're already planning this celebration, and you don't even know what these idiots are doing right now. Wouldn't that concern you? It doesn't seem to be concerning him. Doesn't seem to be worried about it. Didn't say, hey man, can we push this back to the 4th or the 5th, because we're not really sure what's going to happen. Nope. He's pushing forward right now. And people just. And then this popped up because we were told that this couldn't happen. The one big beautiful bill delivers on President Trump's no tax on Social Security. Under the one big beautiful bill, 51.4 million seniors, 88% of all seniors receiving Social Security income, will pay no tax on their Social Security. That's interesting. Did they tell us that had to wait till the rescission? That was a whole different thing because you couldn't put that in reconciliation? Remember when everybody said that? What in the hell's going on? Something's going on. I don't have the answer as to what's going on, but something's going on. And again, it goes back to that one man. So before I go further, let me go ahead and take some comments, because I know y'all saying, "There, Barry, you smoking the weed tonight or something." No, I'm not. I just been sitting back and just looking at things and watching people freak out, except for the one I'm worried about freaking out. I'm looking for the tirade of tweets or posts on True Social. Oh, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, you're an idiot. I don't see him. I don't see any of that. When he's pissed off, he lets you know he's pissed off, but I don't see nothing. Is he not trying to I don't know. It's crazy. Another executive order will be written. It's probably already written. This all makes me, Barry, you have a long, visionary, strategic mind. You're a gangster. I just look. Again, maybe it's from a coaching perspective and looking at a field and looking at film, and I'm like, hey man, there's too many breadcrumbs here. And then when I tell them to you, you guys go, oh yeah, they did play Nessen Dorma. Yeah, And he did say, my goal, if I get elected, is to obliterate the deep state. Yeah, those were actual words out of his mouth. Not written or anything. He actually said, I'm going to obliterate the deep state. And all of a sudden he bombs Iran, and the word he kept saying is obliterate, obliterate. Well, I don't think President Trump should be saying those words. President Trump, you can't really be sure you obliterated. Maybe he wasn't talking about what you thought he was talking about. Anybody think of that? Because he was adamant. Oh, it's obliterated, okay. You sure you want to say it's obliterated? I mean, you might have set them back if you know it's obliterated. Not my words, his words. So either he's a senile as Joe Biden or something's up his sleeve. Trump always doesn't say anything, and sometimes he surprises us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something just doesn't make any sense. Barry, did you? Oh yeah, I love that you caught that too. Barry, did you know the Supreme Court went on vacation last Friday after the rulings? So there's no appeal. I mean, they can try an emergency appeal, but I doubt they're going to get an emergency appeal for a newcomer. Think about that. Who's going to have the standing? Yeah. In order to sue somebody, you have to have standing. Like if you sell me a bum car, I'm involved with you in a transaction. I have standing to sue you. If you are sold a bum car, I can't sue because Fred got a bum car. All right, so follow me. You can't have Medicaid anymore. Well, I'm just going to sue. Wait a second. You're a newcomer. You don't have any right to sue. Huh? You have no standing. And some of you guys might be looking at the screen now like an RCA dog moment going, how in the hell would they sue? I don't know if I could probably try that case. Hey, yeah, I'm a Julio Rodriguez and they're not giving me my Medicaid. I'm going to sue. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and file the suit. Who are you? I'm Julio Rodriguez from Honduras. Sorry, bro, but you don't have any standing in this court. What do you mean? Well, I can't wait to see how the ACLU spins that one. How does he have standing? Well, he's here. He's here illegally. Oh, let him come to court. Hey, Tom, he's coming to court. I don't know, none of it makes any sense. How would you possibly sue for medical benefits, use the American court system, when you don't have any standing to sue? They'll try. I'm not saying they won't try. I have no doubt somebody will try, just like they're trying to sue for rights for an unborn child to be able to do stuff, anything but live. Wait a second. Oh, yeah. Oh, what a crazy ass world. Oh my gosh, it's too crazy. Oh, Washington State's gas going up, exactly. Way ahead of you, Barry. I'm like, think about it. I'm going to sue for my Medicaid. I want my free stuff. How much you paid in? Nothing. Where you from? Honduras? Get out. Problem solved. I don't care about the parliamentarian not letting it look. So what? Congress can't do their job. I'm going to do it with an executive order. Okay? Done. Watch what happens. I could wake up tomorrow and be completely an idiot. I think something's coming. Barry on the tweeds. I may have missed it, Barry. Did Barry bring up the DOJ and FBI findings on international fraud? Yep, that was this afternoon. Spent the whole segment on that, where they've already got arrested, but for $14 billion, they just caught people in that fraud. Yep, brought that up too. Obviously, that's been worked on behind the scenes, and now they got those people. And somebody's right, Barry, you have absolutely nailed it spot on. Trump doesn't just go for the win, he goes for total obliteration. Oh, by the way, speaking of obliteration, did you see who's coming in to meet him next Monday, I believe? Bibi Netanyahu will be here. Cut! Like we're not watching some incredible movie going on here. Let's check in for a second on that movie. And there it is right now. Yeah, what are y'all doing? What the hell are y'all doing? Just walking walking around, doing nothing. Oh, there's Rand Paul, shows up in, his sneakers and just, they're all chilling, just walking around. Yeah, we're senators. We Senate. We do a lot of senating. And they're walking around, and nothing's happening. It's 9:20 at night, and we're all just waiting around. This is your government. Meanwhile, you got a guy who doesn't sleep as your president, who's out there just getting stuff done, and he's at home looking at this. President Trump's at home going, you got to be kidding me. This is what these people do? Remember, this is the guy who builds skyscrapers, and he's looking at this crap. This isn't government. This is a country club. These are people just hanging out. Yeah, they got the fate of the country in their hands, and they're just chilling. Hey, let me walk in. Just got in from dinner, and just going to walk up to the table. Yeah, what's going on next? What's the next thing we're going to do? I don't even know. That's your government. Oh God, Rand Paul has really disappointed me. Yeah, we don't need them. All right, so let me continue with almost like a soap opera. Sharon says, yeah, it is. Oh my God, it is like a soap opera. All right, so let me continue with the stuff I put together for you tonight. Just so you know, this may be kind of a late show because we're going to see if they get these things done or not. So I'm going to do my stuff, and then when I'm done with my stuff, then I'll jump over to Rumble, we'll play some tunes, and then we'll sit and watch and see if these people actually get anything done. And I do have something I'm going to talk to you about after the jump, but I'll wait. All right, so let's continue.
Root inside a system that was designed for those that need it the most. I heard a while ago you talking about the work requirement. Okay, so what the work requirement does is it requires an able-bodied individual with no dependents and no sickness to work, volunteer, or go to school 20 hours a week. And then the paperwork that you guys were talking about, instead of having to prove your means once a year, it says you got to prove it every 6 months.
6 months.
Now,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but that is not a burden. Can
you imagine that there are actually Democrats who find that to be a burden on people? You either got to go to work or you got to volunteer, and you got to re-up and recertify every 6 months. Oh my God, the poor black people, they don't know how to recertify. They don't know how to look for jobs. I bet you they look for them now. You either do that or you don't get any money. By the way, have you seen anybody do a calculation? Okay, understand this. Either get a job and contribute to the economy, or you got to volunteer 20 hours. What is the monetary value of millions of people putting in 20 hours of volunteer time into the economy? Let that sink in. Somebody should be having a chart somewhere. Democrats won't do it, but there are going to be people doing 20 hours of in servitude so that they can get free stuff, and it could be millions of people. 20 million hours. Imagine if there's 1 million who have to volunteer. That's 20 million hours per month. 20 million hours. Say the average minimum wage is $10. Do the math. That's $200 million a month put back into the economy in one way, shape, or form. I don't need to hire this person. I've got this indentured servitude person coming. Yeah, 20 hours times a million people is 20 million hours. Times $10, it has a monetary value of at least 200 million. I haven't heard anybody discuss that. That's 200 million of value going back into our economy instead of us just doling out cash to people. You got to volunteer. You ain't got a job? Volunteer. Let that sink in. I'm like, that's a whole lot of damn money spread around. And that's just basing it on a $10 valuation. You can do the math and keep going up. Hey, what if I valued it at $14 an hour? Well, do the math. That's $280 million worth of value per month. times 12. That's money. Put right back into the economy. And you're like, Barry, how's it put it back in the economy? Well, if I don't have to pay somebody $12 an hour to work and they've got to come in and show up and load the trucks or whatever, I'm good with that. I'm good with you showing up 3 times a week and loading up the stuff in the back of the supermarket. I'll give you a little vest and you just stock the shelves. Maybe, if you're good, I'll actually hire you. But in any event, you're doing something for the benefits that you receive. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's just lazy if you're not willing to do that. And if you're not willing to work 20 hours a week or volunteer 20 hours a week or go to school 20 hours a week to try to better yourself, why is it up to the American taxpayer to pay for you not willing to help yourself? Medicaid was designed to help those in need when they needed it the most. And that's what we're trying to preserve Medicaid for. We're trying to make sure it's there for those in need.
I will say part of Senator Josh Hawley's concern, and he cited a woman who wrote to him. She explained that her husband works as a carpenter. Their private insurance covers her, 4 of her kids, but her 5th kid has a brain condition that is under Medicaid at this point. And to her, she's worried that she'll be one of the people that slips through the cracks. I hope you're right. I hope she is not one of those folks, but there is real concern about that. Before we go, because I know
he didn't even listen to what he said. This is only in regards to people who have an infirmity. If they're unable to work, they just gloss right over it. Hey, able-bodied people who have mental capacity to get stuff done, y'all got to go to work. I'm sorry for the woman and her position if she has a child at home or a grown child that has a brain issue, then guess what? That person can't work. We're not talking about them. I don't understand how they don't get it. You get people like this idiot.
Senator, do you agree with your colleague that this legislation is, quote, immoral?
Well, I'll go further. I think it's a moral obscenity, and it is violence in the sense of what it will do to many families by denying them health care when they're sick, by denying them.
There it goes again. Very subtle. He didn't say Americans. He said families. They're so good at gaslighting, both the senators, the politicians and the media, you would not know who he was talking about. Oh, these families. What families? Oh, you're talking about the newcomers. Oh, okay.
Food when their children are hungry, denying our seniors critical care in their latter years, denying the disabled.
Is he not a senator? Tell me the disabled people who are getting tossed off of Medicaid. I don't know if you have to stand at MSNBC and scream it to these people. Do they not understand we're talking about able-bodied Americans, period. Not disabled, not seen, able-bodied Americans. And they're complicit because she should send it to him. Well, Senator Spartacus, I thought that, people who are older and affirmed and disabled, they're still going to get their benefits. I'm pretty sure everyone that has been talking about this is talking about able-bodied idiots. He would just have to probably mumble.
The kind of support that they need. This bill is a moral obscenity, and I'm stunned that only a few senators on their side of the aisle have even been willing to speak to the impact it will have on their states, their constituents, their rural hospitals, their families, their children in their state. They're not looking plainly at the reality. And then you add in the one thing to me that just exposes a lot of hypocrisy, is the Senate bill blows our deficit up far more than even the House bill did. The Senate version now has our deficit going up about $4 trillion. So
they use these numbers because nobody asks them about it. They can just continue to spew. And you guys saw it yesterday. Every senator and congressperson that got up, blah, 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 it sucks, it sucks, it sucks, and this person can't get their medicine, and everything else, it's everybody. And I feel like if I had a chance to talk to Cory Booker, I would actually say to him, hey man, you're from Jersey, yeah. You're telling me that there are so many people in New Jersey who can't work. Can't work. Have no ability to work. Where are these people? Where are these people who are able-bodied and can't work? Have you seen these? Are they the great white wolf? Where are these people who, number one, aren't looking for a job, have opted out of the labor force, ain't doing anything, and they're capable, they're able, but they just won't work? And you think it's my job to continue paying them. It's bad enough we pay these senators that don't work. Maybe that's why they feel the way they do. They get away with it. Hey, let me check in. What's going on down at the show? Oh, yeah. 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 Maybe that's why they say it. Because they don't do anything. You go to work, you work your 40 hours a week, maybe for the last 20, 30 years, you actually have to do stuff. You actually don't get to sit around, show up, hand a folder to somebody. Yeah, what's going on? I don't know. Yeah, are we supposed to pass something today or something? We got a vote coming up. Anything important going on? No. Let me see. Hey, where are we with the schedule? No. Meanwhile, you're working your butt off in the hot sun sometimes, and these people can't get anything done. Cory, shut up.
Gutting and cutting programs for millions and millions of Americans and giving tax breaks to billionaires, all while doing such fiscal damage to the stability and strength of America and racking up a bill that our children will have to pay for.
Let me ask you a question. The people that he's talking to, basically the college kids that don't know any better, how much taxes do you think they're paying? So when you use the term billionaire, what happens is people think of, I don't know, Jeff Bezos' wedding. And they see the guy renting out Venice and there's carting people around in little boats and they're all having a big party and it's a billion, gazillion and everything because it's something they can't do. And so what they're trying to do with that is to create jealousy, envy. I think we call those sins. I wish I could be in Venice. I wish I could be sailing around in a little boat with Oprah. I just wish I could do that. Those billionaires have it so easy. What did Zohan the Great say? We shouldn't even have billionaires. Really? How do you keep score? I'd love to sit down with Zohan and say, how do you plan on keeping score? Because the whole idea behind this is competition. I didn't hear Zohan or any of these Democrats say, you know what, back when Jeff Bezos was in his garage and he came up with this thing to have an online bookstore, because that's what Amazon was. Nobody was there helping him and saying, hey, listen, man, you might get rich or you may fall flat on your face. But he's going to stay there and he's going to tinker with code and do everything he can do to build up this online bookstore. I can ship books and, we can bring in books from publishers and all this stuff and then realize one day, well, if I can do all this with the books, I could probably sell some other stuff too. Yeah, same system. Or as much of an ass as he is now, you can think back to when Bill Gates, again, same story, sitting around in his garage tinkering with this thing called, software. He wasn't a billionaire. There were billionaires around in the world, but something made this guy tinker with software and become Microsoft. Yeah, he's done some crazy stuff since then, but that's how he started. He didn't say, you know what? I can never be a billionaire, so I'm not gonna design this stuff. And you could do that with people over and over and over. People that they hold in high regard. Hey, LeBron. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, you can play basketball, but we don't think we need any more millionaires and billionaires. Okay, so I don't know if you want to do this. Nope. That's not how it works. I want to be the best basketball player. I may be a jerk, but I do that part well, and they pay me. I put butts in seats. I play guitar. My name is Taylor Swift. Blah, 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 blah. And I make gazillions. Nobody was back when Taylor Swift was sitting around with her first guitar, learning how to play it. Nobody was telling her, you can't do it. Nobody deserves to have that kind of success. No, that's not who we are as Americans. As Americans, that little girl, wherever she was in Nashville, when she first picked up a guitar and made some corny-ass lyrics, and people started buying her records, at some point she's like, I can actually make money with this? La da 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 da. Oh, my boyfriend left me. My dog left me. Oh yeah, okay. And I'm a whack job. Oh, you're buying that too, huh? And nobody ever went to her and said, the world doesn't need any more millionaires, honey. You need to get to a certain place. You know, get your Hyundai and your apartment, and then give away the rest. So let me ask you, why are we now telling kids today you shouldn't go for the brass ring? Why are we stifling potential billionaires? There are potential billionaires right now in some high school garage who are doing something, tinker with something, shooting hoops, playing a guitar, doing something right now. They're doing it. They're 15, they're 16, and they've got, I got this idea. And we got this guy in New York and Democrats saying, we don't need any more billionaires. You can't do this. Instead of telling that kid, you never know what's going to happen. You're going to sing about being dumped by boyfriends, and some people are going to buy your crap, and you're going to have your own plane. Really? That could happen? Yes, that could happen. The whole idea of talking to my grandkids is I'm trying to sell America. Listen, I don't care what you're doing. If you want to do this or do that, there's a life ahead for you. And you got our Democrat politicians coming out and saying just the opposite. And it's working. They're convincing these kids that you'll never make it. The deck is stacked against you, and you shouldn't even aspire to have that kind of money where you could rent Venice. Imagine what that's doing to our country. Imagine that there are whole legions of kids who are seeing this with disdain and disgust, instead of going, man, maybe if I do that, I could have $1 billion. Now, of course, I'm not talking about chasing money at end-all, be-all cost, not about the love of money. I'm talking about aspiration. Wow, could I do that? Could I be a superstar? Sure. You could be a superstar. I remember you've told your kids that. You were probably told that as a kid. You can be a superstar. You can be whatever you want. And now they're telling kids just the opposite. And these kids are buying it. Shouldn't want to succeed. What in the hell has happened in our country where you're telling kids not to aspire? If you ask kids in some of these campuses, what do you want to do the rest of your life? What do you mean? I'm doing it. You're here on campus. You're at school. You have a major. What is it you want to do? Protest? That's going to feed you and your family. Oh, that's right. You ain't going to have a family. Listen how they're indoctrinating these kids. You don't need to be millionaires. You don't need to be billionaires. You don't need to have family. You can cut your junk off and be miserable in some corner someplace, and then eventually you're going to want to off yourself because you're like, I can't pleasure myself, I can't pleasure anybody else, and I can't make any money. What the hell did I do? I listened to some stupid politician. I guess I better take the dirt nap. It's evil personified. They're talking. Hold on.
Chairman. Thank you. Mrs. Fisher. Thank you. Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Serrano, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz. Thank you. Mr. Schiff. Mr. Schmidt. Thank you. Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida. Thank you. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: also Brooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blunt Rochester, Cantwell, Duckworth, Durbin, Hassan, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kane, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Merkley, Ossoff, Padilla, Reed, Schatz, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Welch, and Wyden. Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Cassidy. Senators voting in the negative. I will, just a second. Yep. Ms. Warren, aye. Mrs. Gillibrand, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Bozeman, Britt, Budd, Cassidy, Collins, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Kennedy, Lankford, Lummis, Marshall, Moody, Marino, Mullen, Paul, Ricketts, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of South Carolina, Sheehy, Thune, Tillis, and Young. Mr. Gallego, aye. Mr. Coons, aye. Mr. Schiff, aye.
So what the Democrats are trying to do right now is to pause the bill once again and send it back to committee, which
Mr.
would
Sanders, aye.
Which would start this process all over again. So if they win this, it's going to go back into committee.
Mr.
So
Moran.
you want us Republicans
No.
to win this one.
Mr. Barrasso, no. Mr. Fetterman, aye. Mr. Scott of Florida, no. Mr. Crapo, no. Mr. McConnell, no. Blumenthal, aye.
Again, this vote is they're trying to do a motion to commit to send it back
Mr.
to
McCormick,
committee.
no.
So
Mrs. Murray, aye.
We want this one to be a no. We
Mr.
want
Banks,
this one to fail.
no. Ms. Cortez Masto, aye. Mr. Risch, no. Mr. Hoven, no. Ms. Rosen, aye. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Peters, Aye. Mr. Murphy, aye. Mr. Warner, aye.
You have to wonder how many of these guys go sleep under
Mr. Tuberville, no. Mr. Kelly, aye.
Sleep under their desk until they're called. They just saunter in, and then they'll all disappear again until there's another vote. So I don't know what they do. It's absolutely crazy. So after this vote is over, I'm going to read super chats, and then we're going to jump over to Rumble.
Mrs. Blackburn, no.
Where's the count at this point? Let me see. This is a direct feed, so there's no count.
Ms. Murkowski, aye.
Murkowski voted. Oh, what a tool. What an absolute tool. They have not posted the count anywhere yet. I would have to think that they expected Murkowski and maybe Collins to jump ship, being the type of people they are. But after this, again, I'm going to go ahead and do super chats, and then we'll jump over to Rumble.
Mr. Cruz, no.
Okay,
Mrs. Capito, no.
So right now we're at 46-42. We need 4 more to get this thing tabled. The vote will be up for another 1 minute and 9 seconds.
Mr. Lee, no.
All right, that would be 47-42. Provided we don't have any more defections, that would
Mr.
pretty
Johnson,
much...
no.
That's
Mr.
48.
Markey, aye.
That's 48-43. 48-43 means...
Mr. Whitehouse, aye.
48-44.
Mr. Curtis, no.
49-44.
Mr. Van Hollen, aye.
Yep, 49-45. So this would be 49-45 by my count. It should just need 2 more Republicans to vote yes. Whoever those 2 Republicans might be. See if I can see anybody walking in. Okay, who's this? That's Joni Ernst. She'll be a no. And that should make it 49. Joni Ernst just voted no. She just walked in at the bottom. She should be announcing it momentarily.
Mr. Wicker, no.
He voted no. She didn't write down Joni Ernst, because if Joni Ernst, that would be 50. So as of right now, my count, I've got 50-47. Which means it would basically be over at this point.
Mr. Justice, no.
That's it. I think
Mr. Warnock, aye.
Yeah, Warnock is a Democrat. I think it's 51-46 right now. Which means there's just very, very few votes left, but it's at 51 by my count. So if it's at 51 at this point, this thing has carried, and they won't be able to send it back to committee again, which is what they're trying to do right now. There comes Bernie Moreno. He's going to vote no. So right now they're showing it to be 48-49. So you need basically 1 or 2 more Republicans. And here comes Grassley. There's Chucky. And you see Senator Moreno is at the front desk there. He's leaning on it. So I think they're gonna lose this one. Who's this just walking in right there? Josh Hawley.
Mr. Hawley, no.
All right, so it's over. They're not going to get this, and now we'll move or segue into the next circus here. So right now, the person sitting in the president of the Senate seat will certainly read that off. Gortok was asking a question, does it now go to a full bill? It should at this point go to the full final vote. It is 10 o'clock. They're hoping to have this done by midnight. Thank you guys for staying up. This is really important. So, if you guys like to see history getting made, it's getting made right now. You're watching the sausage getting made. And it should go to full vote next. You'll hear when whoever's sitting in the chief's seat will then call it. I think this is probably going to be the Democrats' last chance to stall, and boom. That Tom Tillis?
Mr. Sullivan, aye.
Oh, Sullivan. Okay. So I think it's right now, it may be 50-50. If I'm looking at this right, it might be 50-50. That means J.D. Vance might have to come in and break the tie. Let's see what happens. I've got 50-50. Could be 50-49. Let me see if you'll hear them call it real quick. But I think by my count, it's 50-50. If it's 50-50, then JD will have to come in. They're still showing it as 50-49. So we're waiting for one more senator to come in and do the vote. If this next senator comes in and says no, then it's done. Let's see, somebody's coming down the stairs. No, that's a page. That's not anybody voting. There's Adam Schiff looking for people who are walking in. Don't see any new guys here walking around. Who's that? That looks like it's Adam Schiff there. Don't know. Looking to see who the next person is that needs to come in. Where the hell are you, bro? Or lady? You need a special invitation to get in here? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. They all should be sitting
Mr. Haggerty. No.
That's it. That's 51-49 by my count. So they wouldn't need J.D. Vance. So let's see if he announces it right now. Since it's 51-49, she should turn around and hand them the paper, and they should have to move on. So this will not be going back to committee. And by the way, for this to go 51-49, it means 2 Republicans wanted to throw it back into committee. That sucks. 2. Okay, that's it. She's going to announce it.
On this vote, the yeas are 49, the nays are 51. The motion is not agreed to.
So now John Thune should be talking. And he'll be telling what the next process is.
Mr. President?
Senator from California.
I have a motion to commit at the desk.
The clerk will report.
The Senator from California, Mr. Schiff, moves to commit the bill H.R. 1 to the Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition,
Ask
and
that further
Forestry.
reading of the motion be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, my motion is simple. It will prevent families with kids under 12 from losing food assistance under the bill. It's bad enough we're borrowing money, trillions of dollars from our kids and grandkids to pay for tax cuts for rich people, but it is worse still that we leave families hungry today. I reserve the balance of my time.
Mr. President,
Senator from Arkansas.
I rise in opposition to the motion raised by my colleague from California. The agricultural title of this bill takes a practical approach to improve SNAP by reducing waste, enhancing accountability, and encouraging recipients to move towards self-reliance through work and training. SNAP spending has nearly doubled since 2018, putting this vital program on an unsustainable path wrought with mismanagement and waste. SNAP is long overdue for change. This program has devolved into viewing success as enrolling more individuals to be dependent on government assistance. This motion would jeopardize the ability for the Senate to meet its reconciliation instructions and deliver the President's agenda to the American people. I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Spending my time feeding hungry kids is not waste. And if we have to send this bill back to committee to fix it and bring it back so kids can get fed, we should do it. This bill is going to take lunches out of school cafeterias. It's going to mean hungry families. You can't pick a number like $200 billion out of thin air and say you can take that money for tax cuts and not leave a lot of American kids hungry. I urge an aye vote.
The question is on the motion.
I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks. Ms. Baldwin.
Okay, so let me explain to you what's going on. They're doing it all over again. Now Adam Schiff has decided he wants to go ahead and have some sort of bring it back to committee because of the SNAP benefits, and they've got 15 minutes to go ahead and now do the roll call and vote on it again. The Democrats are doing nothing but trying to muck up the water here. I mean, the gears. They're trying to do everything to derail. Nothing. And it's funny because so many people in our country do not see what you're seeing right now. They wake up in the morning and just read the headlines and don't realize that these people are just trying to screw America. And so now it's 10 o'clock. They've got 15 more minutes to decide what they're going to do here, which is probably going to fail. Please, hope it will fail. And then, then they'll decide what they're going to do all over again. So in the next 15 minutes, actually now it's 13 minutes and 27 seconds, they will be voting again to decide whether or not to throw this back to committee all over again. It's one big charade. Everything about it is one big charade. And they don't seem to care. They don't seem to care that this whole thing is doing nothing but holding Americans hostage. But That's what they want to do. All right, so I'm going to read Super Chats, and then we're going to get ready to jump over to Rumble. That's the new link. I've just made it very simple for everybody to find it. And then we'll jump to Rumble. We'll finish over there, which would be about the time that they may get ready to to vote again. Man, what a pain in the butt these people are. I mean, absolute pain in the butt. All right, so get ready to get over to Rumble. Going to listen to a couple tunes that most people will probably like. It's not nothing hard at the beginning. I don't know if BOS Doom Crew is here is tonight, but if he's here, he'll like it. Okay, wait a second. Let me make this right so we can get over there. Those of you who have never watched before, I am working with Rumble to a certain extent, so at the nighttime show, I'll do like 90 minutes on YouTube and Rumble and X, and then the last part of the show we do just on Rumble. All right, so let's see where we are at this point. I'm going to go ahead and get the Super Chats in place and read these. Thank you guys very, very much for everything. And where are we? Okay, this window here. Great. All right. Job for 9, thank you. Beverly Litton, has the parliamentarian succeeded in stopping Trump's important initiatives in the bill? Apparently so. Apparently so thus far. We'll see what happens. Helen Tower, I appreciate your common sense wisdom, Barry. Thank you. Rick Moore, had to watch the opening again. Trump needs to get Pete in front of Americans to explain exactly what he said there so people can understand and counter the media's crap. Can you cut that speech so I can share it, please? Yeah, I actually have it already cut. I had to insert it in my show, so I'll just go ahead and post it on my X profile so you can see it right there. Benedetto, Barry, I love you. You figured out Trump's endgame. I got the chills as soon as you figured it out. I'm not saying I figured it out. I'm just saying it all seems to come together with everything that we've been seeing. That's where I'm thinking at this point that there's going to be a grand scene here. Lady Addy, in video game terms, Trump is a completionist. He's doing side guests. Tilly, chat is going too fast, but I'm here in my cave watching and listening. Claudette Bruley, I feel horrible that my best friend for 25 years has been affected by these cuts, but another part of me knows this is exactly what I voted for. How was she affected? Would love to know. Fume Drummer, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Wouldn't it be great if someone is directed to volunteer to clean up graffiti that happened during a protest that the volunteer participated in? Boom! That would be awesome sauce. Benedetto, when you say the least negative thing toward the Dem, the Super Chat says, re-edit, try again. What's up with that? That would be YouTube, and that's why we're jumping over. Because what I'm going to show you on the jump over, they probably don't want us talking about. You'll see. Ernest Walker, no wonder we can't get anything in government. This takes so long. It does. Peggy Viante, thank you. Mary Kellums, Barry Lear Capital is no longer selling small amounts, only $1,000 more. They referred me to Ampex. That should tell you something. And I understand. I think you can do maybe less on the website, but they are upping their amounts because, just like with supply and demand, things are getting big. Born on the 4th, Barry, your podcast the best. Thank you, and kudos to Robin, Ashley, and the mods too. Ashley's taking some time off this week. She's on vacation. Neil, how are you? Thank you so much, Barry and team, for sharing. So important for all America. Keep praying. We must keep winning. God protect our president and America. I completely agree. All right, so what's going to happen is I'm going to put on the break, and that break is basically the golf course thingy, and during that we're going to jump to Rumble. And let me just see where we are with this vote. Yeah, they still got 8 minutes, so we got plenty of time. All right, see you on the other side. Please come over. It's free. You don't have to log into anything. Just go to there. It'll take you right to this video. Go ahead and put it in your phone, your iPad, your computer, and just go right over there. And if you're on television watching, just search it on your television. We have Roku. Many people have Roku now. You can just go to Rumble on Rumble on Roku, and just search my name, and it shall come up. All right. So we'll see you over there. And it's free. You don't have to buy anything.